So sometimes when you're trying to study for the FE, it can be a bit overwhelming. And one of the biggest things to pass in the FE is actually knowing what to study, knowing how to practice the right problems in order to pass your test. So today in this video, I'm going to be kind of sharing how you can find good practice problems and how you can find the right topics so that you pass your test on the first try. So my name is James Huntley and I'm currently a civil engineer. It took me 3 times to pass this FE exam, which is crazy, but it's all good. I figured I'd create some content to help you all so that doesn't happen to you. So first, let's go ahead and get started on showing you how to find the right topics to actually study for the exam. So I'm going to jump over to my other screen. All right, so hopefully you all can see my screen. So the first thing we want to do is go to ncees.org. And the reason that we're going to this website is because this is where we will be able to find our FE manual. This is also a site where you'll need to sign up for your exam if you haven't done that. And this will be your portal. Once you pass the exam, you'll be able to fill out some extra information and then actually receive your FE. So first thing, go to ncees.org and then click on My NCEES. Click on it again and it'll ask you to log in. So my credentials are already in here, but if you haven't created an account, go ahead and create an account and hit login. All right, so as you can see, I passed. So this is not bullshit, but the first thing that it's gonna basically do is show you your dashboard or whatever. So we just want to click under useful documents and we'll see view reference handbooks. So I want to click that. And then it'll give us a list of different handbooks and we want to click specifically the FE reference handbook. This is very important. If you're studying for the exam, you do not want to search FE handbook in Google because it may not be the most updated version. And one of the things that I did is I used an outdated version of the handbook. It had different topics to study for, and it was not an accurate representation of what was on my exam because it wasn't updated information. So the only way to get the most up-to-date reference handbook and FE handbook is to go through NCEES. So that's another reason. So you just want to click on FE reference handbook. All right, and it's going to download a file, be a PDF. Looks like it's a 502-page PDF. So this is what you're going to use for when you take the test. So you want to get really familiar with this. But for our purposes, this is specifically for civil engineers, or if you're trying to pass the civil section. So the next thing you want to do is type in specifications. So you'll hit your control find and just do specifications and 17 different, and I'm gonna zoom in so you guys can actually see what's happening. So once you search specifications, you start seeing this section, like the fundamentals of engineering, chemical exam specifications. Well, we want to see civil exam specifications. So we just keep hitting enter until we get to it. It looks like on this specific manual, it's on page 484. So they're all at the very bottom. So if you just want to scroll down to the very bottom, and once you start seeing this, so here is the civil specifications. And so this tells us everything we need to know, from what's going to be on our test to how long our test will be, how many questions it'll be. So this is what we want to go by. All right, so we know that our test will be 110 questions. It's a 6-hour exam, and it uses different units. The key portion to this is knowing how many questions you're going to have for each topic. So it lets us know. They literally write out how many questions are going to be on our exam. So we know it's going to be between 8 and 12 questions for mathematics and statistics. Getting tongue tied. 4 to 6 questions for ethics and professional practice. 5 to 8 questions on engineering economics. And they even tell us more specifically what in mathematics we'll need to know. So we'll need to be able to understand analytic geometry. We'll need to be able to understand single variable calculus. So the way to pass this exam, the way to master this exam and to easily pass is to literally come through and make sure you understand each of these concepts. So we need to master analytic geometry. We need to master single variable calculus, so that any question they give us, we will have seen it before and we will know how to solve the problem. And this seems to be a lot of problems and a lot of different topics, but if you're able to master them, you will pass this exam easily. Once I went through and did practice problems for each of these different topics, I was able to pass the exam easily. So guess what? I will be doing practice problems on each of these topics. So if this is something that you want kind of step-by-step walkthroughs, you want to listen in with me, we work them through together, be sure that you subscribe to the channel, because I will be going through list by list. Hopefully it'll be pretty interesting. I try to find some different practice problems and some ones that I think aren't too crazy that would actually be used and would be given on an actual exam. All right, so now let's look at how to go about actually finding practice problems to do now that we know the topics that we need to master. All right, so what I like to do is I like to go kind of step by step, and I like to type in my topic, which is analytic geometry, and I just beside that I put practice problems. So I go opening up a new window, and let me zoom in hopefully so y'all can see my screen better, and I just type in analytic geometry, and then I do practice problems. And it seems like it came up. So once it comes up, I kind of scroll through, and I may click on the first thing. I may just see what is kind of the first link. So Khan Academy, it's going to be the first one for this specific topic, because they do a great job with explaining different concepts. So when I click on this, I just kind of do a quick glance, and it looks like they have kind of some quizzes. It looks like they also have some kind of video tutorials. And when I'm doing practice problems, sometimes I like the videos, but then sometimes I just like a ton of different questions and kind of a quick solution. So for this, these practice problems wouldn't be ideal for me. I would go, let's see, the next one. Okay, hackmath.net. It looks like they have a lot of practice problems. They have 181 practice problems, and I'm just scrolling through, and they have like 10 pages. And when I click on one, it gives you the practice problem, and this doesn't seem too complicated, and it gives you the step-by-step explanation, and you can try different examples. So this is something that I would kind of use for this specific topic. It just seems like it's a practice problem, give me a solution, go to the next one, do like 10 or 15 of them, or how many ever I need until I feel like I have mastered analytic geometry. So there are a few questions that I ask myself when I'm choosing practice problems, because we have 181 of these practice problems, so I just need quite a few to do some practice, understand the concept, and move to the next concept. So I just look at the problem and I kind of gauge and ask myself, can I use some of the formulas in my FE handbook to solve a problem like this? Because if there's no formulas or there's no information that's given in my FE handbook to help me to solve this, then it's probably not a good practice problem to be working on, and it's probably not something that you need to be spending a whole bunch of time on. This FE exam, they really put questions in so that you look at the question. If you can kind of do process of elimination, then you can just, get through the problem with ease. But if you need to use a formula, you can quickly go in through the FE manual, find the formula, and then start plugging and chugging. So it's not, they don't try to make it overcomplicated. Like, if you know how to use the FE manual and you know how to find the formulas quickly, you'll be good. And I'll also look to see if there are, some clear solutions when I'm doing practice problems. I don't want to be just doing problems and then there not be a clear solution, because that's not going to help me understand how I got the right or wrong answer. And just general things to know, just make sure you are very familiar with your FE manual. This handbook right here, this 502 page handbook for civil, is really just going to be you'll need to find the civil engineering section of the handbook, and it'll be some parts with mathematics, and you'll need to use that too. So that's pretty much all I have for you all today. If you want to stick around and actually start doing some practice problems, make sure you watch the next video where it'll be about analytic geometry. Be doing a few problems, and hopefully you enjoy. Oh yeah, and if you like this video, don't forget to like it, comment any questions that you have, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.